Good afternoon, dear students. So, by learning distribution of water bodies, we came to know that we should not waste the water, especially water is a precious resources and we needs to be used in a careful way. Now, let us discuss about ocean circulation. Ocean circulation. See, you may observe that there is something magical about walking bare feet on the seashore. Of course, if you walk, or if you are going to walk at least whenever you are visit the seashore, how why wearing shoes or slippers? No. So walking bare feet, bare. See, the wet sand on the beach ಬಹಳ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದಂತಹ ಅನುಭವ ಮಕ್ಕಳು. ನೀವು ಬರಿಗಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮುದ್ರದ ತೀರ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ವಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಎಂತಹ ಅದ್ಭುತ ಅನುಭವವನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರಿಯಲಿ. ಸೊ ದ ವೆಟ್ ಸ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಬಹಳ ವೆಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು. ದ ಕೂಲ್ ಬ್ರೀಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ನೈಸ್. ದ ಸೀ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್, the smell of the salt in the air, the smell of the salt in the air. So we are smelling, we are able to smell it. What kind of a smell? That salt smell in the air, and the melodious music. Sir, where is sir? Music of the waves. ಆ ಅಲೆಗಳ ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಬ್ಬರ ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ವೇವ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕೇಳಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸಂಗೀತವನ್ನ ಸವಿದ ಹಾಗೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವೇವ್ಸ್. ಸಿ, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೋ ಫ್ಯಾಸಿನೇಟಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಬೀಚ್ to enjoy the nature, to enjoy the sunrise, sunset, especially sunset, and walking in the beach, enjoying the beach. It's so that gives it's so everything because that experience is there now. That wet sand, cool breeze, and the sea birds how flying. ಬಹುಶಃ ಕವಿನೇ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದು ಅದನ್ನು ವರ್ಣನೆ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. And even we are able to smell it also in the air, the smell of a salt and the music of the waves. So here on the seashore, everything is fascinating, unlike the calm waters of ponds and lakes. When we are visiting the ponds, when we are visiting the lakes, so we cannot get all this experience because always in ponds and lakes the water is so calm that where we cannot see the waves, where we cannot smell the salty, and while walking, so we cannot feel the wet sand and so on so things. See, ocean waters keeps moving continuously. Ocean water keeps moving continuously. It is a never still. ಸಮುದ್ರದ ನೀರು ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಅಥವಾ ಸಮುದ್ರ ಅದು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನೆವರ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್. ಅದು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಅದು ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ನೆವರ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್. The movements that occur in oceans can be broadly categorized as waves, tides, and currents. So whatever the movements occur in oceans, so that's categorized waves, tides, okay, waves, tides, and currents. don't think sir current ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮನೆಲ್ಲ ಲೈಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಸರ್ ನೋ waves tides and currents so these are all movements that occur in oceans got it now let us see about the waves see when you are playing throw ball on the beach of course when suppose if not whenever you are visiting any beach so please try to play some games then you can get a lot of experience so when you are playing throw ball on the beach and the ball falls into the water suppose ನೀವು ಆಟ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀರಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಥ್ರೋ ಬಾಲ್ ನೀರೊಳಗಡೆ ಬೀಳುತ್ತೆ what happens it is a fun to watch how the ball gets washed back to the shore by the waves it's a really wonderful experience it's a really wonderful experience so why because no so how the balls gets washed back to the shore by the waves and when the water on the surface of the ocean rises and falls alternately we know that so the water surface on the oceans especially rises and falls ಸರಿ ಅದು ರೈಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಫಾಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ ಅದು ಬಾಲ್ ನೋಡಬೇಕು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ರೈಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫಾಲ್ಸ್ so that used to called as so they are called waves getting now they are called waves see during a storm means birugadi time the winds blowing a very high speed so it's a very common because that is the time of a storm so during a storm the winds blowing at very high speed so the blowing winds especially at a very high speed form huge waves ಎಷ್ಟು ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಗಾಳಿ ಬೀಸುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಅಲೆಗಳನ್ನ ಅದು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ವೇವ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಾಣ್ತೀವಿ ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಮೇ ಕಾಸ್ ಟ್ರಮೆಂಡಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ ಸೊ ಇಂತಹದ್ದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಕಾಸ್ ಟ್ರಮೆಂಡಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ an earthquake bhukampa a volcanic eruption or underwater landslides can shift large amounts of ocean water adrullu enadru makla if inside the ocean in ocean if suppose if the earthquake volcanic eruption under the water landslides that can shift large amounts of ocean water as a result I used tidal wave called ಬಹಳ ಬೃಹತ್ ಗಾತ್ರದ ಆ ಒಂದು ಟೈಡಲ್ ವೇವ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕಾಣ್ತೀವಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಸುನಾಮಿ ಅಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಅಲೆಗಳು ಸಮುದ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಆಸ್ ಹೈ ಆಸ್ 15 ಮೀಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಮಾರು 15 ಮೀಟರ್ ಎತ್ತರದ ಬೃಹತ್ ಗಾತ್ರದ ಅಲೆಗಳು ಈವನ್ full of speed only 15 meter anbadi in sometimes dear students because that is depend upon the situation the largest tsunami ever measured was 150 meter height this is the largest one so ಸುಮಾರು 150 ಮೀಟರ್ ಎತ್ತರದ ಅಲೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಸುನಾಮಿ ಅಲೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕಾಣ್ತೀವಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳ so these waves travel at a speed of what about the speed of these waves it is about more than 700 kilometer per hour it is about 15 meter to 150 meter height and the largest tsunami speed, it is about more than 700 kilometer per hour. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅಂದಾಜು 700 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ಗಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ವೇಗವಾಗಿ, ಅಂದರೆ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು knows that many of you may heard, and your parents or your elders, they were well knows about the tsunami of 2004. 2004 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಭವಿಸಿದಂತಹ ಸುನಾಮಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, how that tsunami caused widespread damage in the coastal areas of India. ಸೊ ಅದು ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, 2004ರ ಸುನಾಮಿ ಭಾರತದ ತೀರ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ. The Indira Point in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands got submerged after the tsunami. So after the 2004, so what happened? The Indira Point in the Andaman and Nicobar Island got submerged after this tsunami. See, dear students, it's a very dangerous. Now, let us see that one. With one example, which I told now itself about the 2004, the tsunami, how it was caused, the damage, especially for our country also. So regarding this 2004 tsunami, which is the pandemonium, that we are focused a little bit, just we'll see that tsunami. See, tsunami or the harbor wave struck awash in the Indian Ocean on the 26th December 2004. So, 26th December 2004. It is about 16 years back. Almost 16 years back in 2004. So the wave was the result of the earthquake. Why this tsunami, these waves created now? So this was actually the result of the earthquake that had its epicenter close to the western boundary of Sumatra. So ಸುಮಾತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಬೌಂಡರಿ ಸುಮಾತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆದಂತಹ ಭೂಕಂಪ ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಭೂಕಂಪನೆ ಮೂಲ ಕಾರಣ ಈ ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ 2004 ಸುನಾಮಿ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಗೆ. The magnitude of the earthquake, that was about 9.0 on the Richter scale. So Richter, this is actually the unit which they are measuring for tsunami. The earthquake. So ಭೂಕಂಪನ ಮಾಪಕ, the Richter ಮಾಪಕದಲ್ಲಿ 9.0 ತೋರಿಸಿರ್ತಂತ. As the Indian plate went under the Burma plate, so we know that the movement of the tectonic plates, their role is so much important. So what happened now? As the Indian plate went under the Burma plate, so there was a sudden movement of the sea floor. Sudden movement causing that earthquake. ಏನಾಯ್ತಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಭೀಕರ ಭೂಕಂಪ. The ocean floor was displaced by about 10 to 20 meter and tilted in a downwardly direction. This is what happened when the India plate went under the Burma plate. There was a sudden movement of the sea floor. Suddenly created the sea floor. So the ocean floor was displaced about 10 to 20 meter displaced and tilted in a downwardly direction. Down yadu, a huge mass of ocean water flowed to fill in the gap that was being created by the displacement. So the gap which was created in this situation now, so the huge mass of ocean water flowed to fill in that gap that was being created by this displacement. and this marked the withdrawal of the water mass from the coastal lines and land masses in the South and Southeast Asia. After thrusting of the Indian plate below the Burma plate, the water mass rushed back towards the coastline. Afterwards, what happened? The water mass rushed back towards the coastline. So tsunami traveled at a speed of about 800 kilometers. The waves traveled at a speed of about 800 kilometers per hour. ಗಂಟೆಗೆ 800 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ವೇಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಬಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Comparable to speed of commercial aircraft and completely washed away some of the highlands in the Indian Ocean. So many of the highlands so completely affected, completely washed by the tsunami. So many of the islands which were actually existed or which we see before 2004 in Indian Ocean so completely washed. The Indira Point in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands that marked the southernmost point of India got completely submerged. As the wave moved from earthquake epicenter from Sumatra towards the Andaman Islands and Sri Lanka, the wavelength decreased and decreasing depth of water also. What happened afterwards? The length that's decreased and decreasing depth of water also. The travel speed also declined from 700 to 900 kilometers. The speed that is also declined from 700 to 900 per hour to less than 70 kilometers. Tsunami waves traveled up to a depth of 3 kilometers from the coastal. It was killing the more than 10,000 people and affected more than lakh of houses. So many people, about 10,000 people they were killed and the lakh of houses were affected by this tsunami. So especially in India, the worst affect were the coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Puducherry and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So, the coastal areas of our country, such as Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Puducherry, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands, were completely affected in the worst way because of this tsunami. See, while the earthquake cannot be predicted in advance, it is possible to give a 3 hour notice of a potential tsunami. Such early warning systems are in places across the Pacific Ocean, but not in the Indian Ocean. So only they are predicted in advance. So it is possible to give a 3 hours notice of a potential tsunami, but such early warning system are not in place across the Pacific Ocean, but not in the Indian Ocean. Tsunamis are rare in the why? Because tsunamis very rare in the Indian Oceans as the seismic activity of less as compared to the Pacific Ocean. So very rare. So the tsunami that ravaged the South and Southeast Asian coast in the December 2004 is the most devastating tsunami in the last several hundred years. Since last several hundred years, it was one of the most devastated one. The large damage caused to life and property, that was primarily a result of lack of monitoring, the early warning systems, and knowledge among the coast dwellers of Indian oceans. So, because this all the negligence, but even though we have to study very carefully, especially the disaster management during some time, especially. So, the people must aware about how to manage like this natural calamities. If suppose anything is taken place immediately, how to control it, the awareness. So that's what it is very much essential to learn disasters and that management also. So the first indication that tsunami is approaching is the rapid withdrawal of water from the coastal region, followed by destructive wave. When this happened on the coast, instead of people going to high ground, they started assembling at the coast to view the miracle. See, as a consequence, there was a large casualty of curious onlookers when the what we call Zangatic wave struck completely, attacked in a burst way. So, dear students, it is a very essential to learn about the different, the natural disasters and how to manage that skill. And those skill needs to be learned in a very careful manner. We have to manage that, and by using the advanced science and technology, so we needs to be created awareness about all these things at least in future days. So it is one of the very worst. It was not taken place since several hundred years ago, but it was taken place in 26th December of 2004, and the effect of the tsunami that we all of knows that. Now about tides and about ocean currents. So we are going to learn in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.